Welcome to the Black Bull Markets podcast. We have a very, very, very special guest on the podcast today. Now, tables have turned. It's
Yes.
normally trading nut, interviewing top traders around the world. And this time we're interviewing the source of that information, and that's Cam Hawkins. So we're delighted to have you on the show today, Cam. Thank
Well,
you for
look,
joining.
a pleasure to be here. I've got to say, it's been an absolute pleasure to be here.
Uh, Thanks. I mean, like I said, it's normally yourself interviewing others. So now it's time to ask the man a few questions, kind of dig deep into your journey through this space, what you've been, how I guess you got started. I think for people watching this from the sidelines, so you've amassed a real credible following and really grown a lot of strong reputation in terms of uh, speaking to a lot of traders and breaking down the characteristics of traders that do very well in the markets and also discussing their pitfalls. I think as through that journey as well, you would have learned quite a lot through just talking with other traders and improving on your own personal trade journey. So, of course, we're based in New Zealand. We're based in Auckland, and you're based in Wellington. So we're delighted to have this partnership as well. And really, really like the hat, by the way.
Yeah, look, it's fantastic. I mean, I'm so glad that I've got a New Zealand broker here supporting the channel and what I do. So this is fantastic. So, and great to be on the podcast as well and sharing what I know with your listeners out there, which I don't do very often. So it's a bit of a treat for them.
Yes, exactly. And I really want to get started with your personal journey in terms of what got you into trading and financial markets. Was it something
Oh, look,
you?
it sort of
Yeah.
started with, and I think everyone, well, a lot of people that have kids have this sort of like, I don't know, it's the parent effect or the daddy effect or whatever it is. As soon as you have kids, you sort of like your mind goes to like, I've got to support them. I mean, I'm not a great reader of books. I listen to a lot of books, but
Hmm.
back then when I had my first child, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad in about 3 days, which is a record for me.
Wow.
And then from there I just went on this journey of like how am I going to support this child? Obviously I was working and stuff, but
Mm.
I went down this journey and eventually met somebody, well, so it was a random chance sort of conversation on a golf course up in Auckland, funnily enough, and
Wow.
I heard about a chap that I'd been working with who'd left and gone and made $500,000 trading. And I was like, this sounds fantastic. And he'd done it in six
Yeah.
months. And I was like, okay, well, how did he do it? So I ended up contacting him and he sent me a few courses and seminars to go on and stuff like that. They were very expensive. And I sort of thought, well, I'll take the easy route and go with the cheapest one and then dove in from there. And eventually I think I started off with options, placed
Mm.
one options trade, lost it, and then it scared me off. And then I was like, because you had to put a lot of money in to trade the options.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, well, what else is there? And I found forex and fell into the forex space and trading algos and all sorts of stuff. And I've been doing that ever since.
Amazing.
And 8 years ago, decided to start a podcast where I
Wow.
thought, why don't I just I'd stopped everything I was doing and I thought, why don't I find out what the guys who are really doing well, what they do different from me and what they do different from everyone else and why they, so
Mm.
special. So
So
that's the journey.
that's fantastic. So it's a combination of, I guess, creating this community where you can speak to other like-minded individuals who are trading in this space, and also using those conversations to kind of add value to your personal uh, trading strategies and things like that. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, well, look, it was,
Yeah.
and to a certain degree, to a detriment to my trading as well, because the community and you're working a full-time job, you're doing these
Yeah.
podcasts, you sort of I found myself falling into that at the start, very much like taking over, and I couldn't do what I was being taught and told by these experts out there. And it's only just recently that I'll be able to sort of turn the tables now that I've gone full time and I'm not full-time, working for myself, and I'm not having
Yeah.
to, hold down a job, that things have started to really shift, and I'm now seeing some progress happening, which has taken
Nice.
way longer than pretty much I think everyone else who's been on the show. I mean, I know a lot of people out there do struggle for years to make it work,
Mm.
and it is that commitment that you need to focus in on the space to really make, start getting some traction.
Yeah. And just going back a bit on your journey, you mentioned going on and spending money on seminars. I know a lot of people when they do first start entering, the learning how to trade phase, seminars and webinars and online materials abundant. What brought you into that specific one that you went to attend? Because I believe from our last conversation, you flew over to Singapore, right?
Oh no, that was there was a so I actually didn't attend any of the seminars that the guy had
Okay,
recommended. I bought a course from I think I can't remember the guy. His name was Kim Riley. If I think
right.
back, and I think he's just disappeared now. And the last thing I heard, he had sort of gone off the rails and what have you. But anyway, I
Yeah,
did. Yeah, I flew over to Malaysia for a course, and it was like there and back in a day. And look,
yeah.
although the course didn't necessarily help me out and fix all my problems, I met some great people, and some other things happened off the back of that, which really sort of helped get me to the point where I am at the moment. So yeah, seminars is a way to go, but probably that down more of a more expensive route than what's
Yeah.
available these days online.
I guess starting from then and where you are now in your journey, where you found some profitability and success in your trading, what would you say are the common themes for achieving that success? I guess through your journey experience and those who you've spoken with who have a genuine success story. I mean, what would you say the common traits are?
Well, look, I think the common traits are probably just it does come down to a single focus, right? So
Mm,
this is like people who say, right, this is the thing I'm going to do, this is the only thing I'm going to do, and it's an unwavering determination that holds them there as well. So they'll have people in their ears saying, this thing's a scam, or this thing's not going to work,
yeah.
or you're wasting your time, you're not making any money yet, why are you doing it? And it is the people that say, okay, I'm going to carry on anyway. I'm going to spend hours on this and not
Mm,
make any money at the start, with the thinking that in the future I will make money. And they're happy to fail. They're happy to fail and
mm,
fail forward. So fail, learn, move forward, understand that it's a game of failure to get to the point where you start succeeding. Another sort of key interesting thing from all these people I've interviewed, and it's been over 300 interviews now,
wow.
is that they seem to have a disconnect from the money, right? So
Right.
when I talk to people, like just regular people that I know and people that I meet, and I can now sort of see the difference of the people that are disconnected from money and the people that are connected to money. And it's quite obvious once you sort of look at that. It's quite a unique perspective to hear somebody talk about things and you go, okay, you've got a heavy connection to money, whereas somebody else might have a
Mm,
very light connection to money and they don't really care about it. And it's these people seem to have this disconnect that they've either created themselves or they were born with, which is kind of rare. And that helps them
mhm,
get over that risk element and understanding that parts of that they will lose money and they'll
mm,
be okay with it, and they're not going to let that sort of detract or derail what they've put in place. And the other, probably the final thing, is they just never stop learning, right? So it's they're
yeah.
in the markets, they're in there to learn. They've got to the point where they're not just like, you just tell me like a little part of it, I'm just going to go and replicate that. No, you tell me a part of it, I'm going to put my own spin on it. I'm going to add it into what I'm doing. It's a central sort of centric kind of view of the world as well. So it's like, I'll take what you're going to give me, but I'm not going to just take it blindly. I'm going to take it and I'm going to mature it and put it into what I know and what I do, and make it fit my puzzle that I've created for myself to navigate these markets on a daily basis. So that's sort
Wow.
of it in a nutshell.
That's a great summary. I mean, just going back to the detachment from money, that's such a key aspect in this whole thing. It's what are the major pitfalls of traders, that have a good run, especially if you're not used to seeing fluctuations of tens of thousands of dollars in a day, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's really that focus on the risk and focus on those percentage gains, or those the percentage drawdowns, I guess. But once you do start having that unique emotional attachment, or sorry, detachment, as you say, that's when you can really start to focus on perfecting that strategy and making sure it scales, I guess, at different levels, right?
Yeah, and look, I mean, it's a challenge for people. I mean, to understand, even if somebody says, "Well, risk what you're willing to lose." I mean, people go, "Okay, well, I'm willing to lose, you know, maybe say $1,000," but the reality is, okay, well, you give me $1,000 now, and I'll give this back to you when I see fit, and it's like, I mean, people just won't do it, right? They won't just give you $1,000, and so then you go, "Well, are you willing to lose that money?" Then maybe you're not. So it's quite a difficult question to answer, like in terms of how much you're willing to lose, and you'll think you're willing to lose this amount, but the reality is you might not really be that disconnected from money to be able to, you know, accept that loss.
That's right. And that's also the why people's strategies, do phenomenally well on demo accounts. And it's just purely no attachment, because it's dummy money, right? And perhaps that's why the prevalence of people doing well on the prop side as well is also that whole detachment from money. And we're gonna get into that again.
I mean, I actually interviewed somebody just, I think it must have been last week or the week before, and they said what they do is they have, like, much bigger accounts that they're trading,
right?
But they only trade on I believe it was $100,000 account or a $50,000 account. But then they use some software to copy the trades across to these other accounts. But psychologically, they're only, if they're losing, $150 or $100 or whatever it is, 250 on that account that they're trading. But the reality is, on another account, they're losing $1,000. But when they make money, they're making 2,500 or whatever it is. So it's a nice way
that
to
really hits home.
Yeah, trying to get around that psychological aspect of large amounts of cash sort of coming in and out of your account.
Yeah, it's exactly the case study we had last week with a client who joined our copy trading platform. Trades off $1,000 account, but he copies it over to a $50,000 account. And he's come to the conclusion that trading off a $50,000 account just doesn't do it for him. That's just too much risk, perceived risk. So he likes to trade small, and then has a multiplier on the copy traders. So like for like, focuses on the small account, and that's where all of his profits and losses are made. But generally his strategy works a lot better that way.
Yeah, so it's a clever, nice little trick if you want to go down that route.
Definitely. Oh, well, I mean, look, it's been a pleasure to talk, Cam.
Look, it's been great. Yeah, thank you for having me on.
Thank you, and I guess we'll definitely, when the weather gets better, we'll have another event. I don't know how it is in Wellington where you are, but it's definitely very cold and rainy here, entering the winter.
Yeah, it's about the same. It's about the same.
Oh man. Well, look, we'll definitely look forward to seeing you soon, doing more great partnership work on the content front and supporting each other's platforms. And we're just so glad to be working with you. And thank you for giving us the opportunity.
Well, look, it's great to have Black Bull on board, and loving it. So thank you very much, Anish.
It'll be very interesting to see where this podcast takes people in terms of thought, and I guess questions. Put them in the comments below, and we'll do our best to come back to you.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Cam.
Thank you.
See ya. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.